Exclusive. Diamond Dove loose lip.
Diamond Dove exclusive.
Tell me where you been lately. Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls. Don't
Yeah, that's
you
just
know?
me.
Tell me where you been lately. Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls.
I'm
Don't you
standing at the peak of my passion. April baby shower, send lightning a flashing. Overflow of diamond tidal waves are crashing. Flooding all the issues I've had in my past, and I'm surfing straight past them. I'm filling with action. All my haters swarming with the fatal attraction. Common curiosity, the question they're asking.
Tell me where you been.
I just look at them laughing, I keep moving on past them. I'm no longer a has-been, now I'm a Shelby. Gone in 60 seconds, unicorn the Shelby. Coming over obstacles, working with shall we? And yes, we shall see Lee prevail.
Tell me where you been lately. Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
you know?
just me.
Tell me where you been lately. Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls. Don't
Yeah, that's
you
just
know?
me. 2 scoops, some new shoes, and a pinstripe suit. Reminisce on mama playing the band high flute. Get fresh and best.
TV's impact on life. I'm your host, Pastor Jarmaine V. Lee. It's an honor for me to be here with you today because it's another beautiful day. It started off a little rainy, but rain make the grass grow. And then as soon as the clouds move, it brings out the sunshine. Got a little bit of shower in the middle of the day, but with all this heat we've been getting in the heartbeat, it was a fresh breath of fresh air for me because it cooled everything down a little bit. But for those of you that's gonna be out later on, the mosquitoes might come out a little bit earlier, so wear some off, get some long sleeves or something. Today in the studio, we have the man who is responsible for assisting a kind-hearted individual in his efforts to help the homeless and going national. We have the producer and director of the movie Ordinary Hero, Mr. J.V. Harvey. It's an honor to be on the show.
Thank you very
on
much.
Lee TV.
Appreciate it.
And tell me about yourself, J.V.
Well, this is my first film, Ordinary Hero, first film. For those of you who don't know, I first started doing film, ironically, in prison. I got my first break in prison. Yes, I said it, convicted felon.
Okay.
Came home with a plan like no other. The first week out, I was in the library downtown, wasted no time with no games. Pretty much, I started reading about filmmaking, cinematography, cameras, because I've always liked to talk. You know,
Right.
people always say, you talk too much. I always like to tell stories, like to talk. And I started writing books and writing scripts in prison. I got my first break pretty much in the playwriting class in prison.
Really?
Yes, Mr. Aldridge, shout out to Mr. Aldridge, who remembers me for a long time ago. He let me direct some plays while in prison.
Okay.
And I was writing these plays, and I was inviting other inmates to come check these plays out. I would get inmates to play in my play.
Okay.
And they will audition. We would have auditions in prison, and pretty much that's how I got my first break. Wrote a few scripts while I was incarcerated. Came home, like I said, with a game plan like no other.
Okay.
My first baby to the city of Hartford was going to be a documentary about Kennedy Park.
Okay.
That's how I initially first came home. I've always wanted to get into film, and pretty much, I figured that for me, my breakdown was the easiest way to get into films for me would be documentaries.
Okay.
Because it doesn't take a lot to put money together for a documentary.
Right.
You could get grant proposals. You could
Right.
pretty much get money from anywhere to make a documentary.
Okay.
But when you make feature films, you gotta scratch the doors a little bit more.
Right.
So I knew I'd come home with a game plan for grant money for documentaries. The grant money didn't come through for Kennedy Park. And as a lot of people know, I was walking through the park, going back to my sister's car, and what do I see? A little old white guy cutting all these black people here. And I said, what's going on over here? Walked over there and I said, how you doing? My name is J.V. Harvey. What's your name? He said, Joe the Barber. And that's how I initially came across the story about Joe taking time out and cutting everyone's hair, giving food out every Wednesday night. So it's my first film, and I'm
So
pretty much.
before J.V. Harvey, Joe the Barber was already in the park.
Oh yes, way before J.V. Harvey.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been in the park for over 8 years now.
Really?
But he gives back to the community for over 25 years.
Okay.
And on the days that I was with him following around, he would go from the park to convalescent homes even after the park.
Okay.
So the man is incredible, and that's the whole purpose of this film, to show people, look, if he could do this, we all could do anything to give it back into our community.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely. That's awesome. So, tell me about how, did he explain to you how it all got started? I mean, what motivated him to go?
Yeah, the funny story is that it started from a diss, as we call in the hood. You know, he dissed somebody.
Really?
Yeah, it started from him going to the shelter, and he saw a guy that he was joking with.
Right.
And he said, not only are you a bum, you look like a bum. I'm gonna bring my clippers in. And that's how it started. You know, he dissed somebody, and the next day he brought his clippers in, and people were lined up to get haircuts.
Right.
From the guy, you know, from Joe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the shelter. So he went from the shelter to the YMCA on Jewel Street.
Okay.
And then when the Y got shut down, he went from the Y to the carousel, and then from the
Okay.
carousel, he went up there to the little south end of the park with his
Right.
battery pack.
Down
That's
in
how it
Bushnell
started.
Park.
Down in Bushnell.
Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, with this project, how long did it take you to shoot? What were some of the different points you wanted to bring out about this?
Joe the Barber, it didn't take me too long to shoot it because for all of you who don't know, the process at Channel 5, which is like, this is my first family home right here at Channel 5. Shout out to Miss Billy Screws, awesome family here. When I came home from prison, I needed a camera. And basically, I was told, well, you can use a camera at Channel 5, but you have to give them a show.
Right.
So all of you who don't know, Damn, That Girl Could Cook, it started from right here.
Yes.
Because that's the show that I initially took their little camera,
Okay.
went around filming my cooking shows, and then on Wednesday nights, I go on there and film Joe the Barber.
Now, that show was gaining some popularity here
Yes,
on
it
Channel
is.
5.
Yes,
but
it is.
What
Yeah.
happened to it? I mean,
Well, we took it off the air for Channel 5 because we're going to take it to next levels, Food
Okay.
Network levels. We got it copywritten, we got it discovered from some lawyers got behind it,
Definitely.
and we got it stamped approved with that good DC stamp on it. Nobody could take Damn, That Girl Could Cook.
yes, sir.
So keep your hands off
Yes,
of it.
sir. Yes,
And pretty much we're gonna just take it to the next level, whereas we're just gonna try to get more international known like any other like reality / cooking show.
Okay.
And that's how it started. I used Channel 5 cameras. So as far as like how long it took to do that film, Joe the Barber, it didn't take long, but I would say the process was more it was more time wise when it came to editing. Because I didn't want just anybody to edit that
Right.
project.
Definitely.
And because I had old cameras from Channel 5, I came, but pretty much I got new cameras.
Okay.
So now I had to take the new footage and put it with the old footage.
Okay.
Went back down there, shot more footage with Joe cutting here,
Definitely.
going to the convalescent home, giving blood, handing food out.
Wow.
So pretty much I followed him around for almost a year. And then the process took, you could say, about a year altogether.
Definitely, definitely. Now, it's definitely gaining national attention. Well,
Yeah,
it's funny.
yeah.
I called you today about
To remind
coming
me.
to the show to
To-
remind
yeah,
you
to
tonight,
remind me
and,
and let everyone know. He did remind me because I almost forgot. If you know me, I'm horrible with time. I'm always late. I have a watch and a phone, but I could never keep up. I'm sorry.
Hey,
And you
we
did
all
remind
have
me
our-
because I
yes,
told
sir.
you. I said, oh, you just reminded me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And I wrote it
sir.
in the calendar too.
Hey, I do the same thing. Right in my calendar, somebody still called me. Hey, aren't you supposed to be coming tonight? That's right. What time
Yeah,
was
exactly.
it?
So you did
And,
remind me.
So that reminder, all that, that just means that we all got that one glitch in our mind
Yes,
that needs
yes.
to be. It helps to keep each other on point.
Absolutely.
But not 5 minutes after I called you.
Right.
My grandfather called me from Illinois, and he said, "Have you heard about this guy that does haircuts in the park?" I said, "Diddy, I'm interviewing the gentleman that shot the film
Right.
on him tonight." So great success to bringing exposure to an ordinary hero.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
like the concept of the film itself, because usually when we think about feature films or documentaries, we look at people who we consider have done some super spectacular things.
Right.
And big, extravagant, elaborate things, but it's really those everyday people who
Every day.
have an expertise. That's a tithe to me. I
Right.
mean, being a pastor, we talk about tithing. You have to give of your increase, and that's his expertise. And he's
Right.
giving back to the community in a way that is helping these brothers. I mean, people look at homeless guys, and I have to ask this: what does a homeless guy look like?
Right.
I mean, for a year and a half of my life, I was homeless here in Connecticut.
Right.
You know, I was homeless in Chicago, my homeland. You
Right.
know, sleeping on trains, going to college full time, and performing in shows 7-8 nights a week. You know, and in order to have somebody that when you don't have the finances to go and get an everyday haircut
get
or
fresh.
every week
And it means a lot
haircut.
to get
Yeah,
fresh.
definitely. It boosts your motivation,
Right.
it boosts your self-esteem, gives you a great presentation for potentially going to get a job to
Right.
get out of your situation. So those are the people that we need. That's just like teachers should be making basketball player salaries.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I applaud you on definitely having the vision and reaching out. But since you've been in it, what were some of the hang-ups that you've had? And I mean, we're going to go to the film in a few minutes, but what were some of the hang-ups that you've had just on your journey of being a filmmaker?
I won't really call them hang-ups. Like, everything to me is a learning process, but I would definitely call like little backtracks. You know, you have to have good equipment, and the good equipment, I didn't have that when I first came home. But I made sure I surrounded myself with people who had it. And that's how I learned from around people in my circle, my team. But I do remember, I do it every year. I didn't do it last year, but I'm going to start doing it every year. It's the Doritos Super Bowl commercial. And I always enter the contest to win that $1 million or $500,000 or $200,000. So I gave them a good concept. You know, I can't tell you what the concept is right now.
Right.
But if you want to see it, just go online, check it out. JV Harvey Doritos Super Bowl commercial contest. And I thought the concept was great. And I put it on, I uploaded it, but the quality really was bad compared to all the commercials around it.
Definitely.
So I'm sure if I had better equipment with that same concept, I probably could have got a little bit of that green.
Okay.
So that's like my main thing is pretty much the hang up is equipment. It's always equipment. You gotta be able to put out, you know, quality work. It's not always about quantity. It's about quality. You can make 4 or 5 thousands of music videos,
Definitely.
but if the quality is not good, then really you have made nothing.
Definitely.
Because in this business, it's about quality. Your sound, your lighting, your you know, the angles, the camera, everything. It has to be, the quality is what counts.
Definitely.
And in making this film, Joe the Barber, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit it, the quality sucked. Because it was the first rate camera. I didn't know nothing about angles. I read a lot, but when I got on the set, I'm so excited. I want to get the story out. But after I finished showing it to a few investors, a few producers, what mattered more than anything was the story itself.
Right.
You know, they weren't looking at, you know, the picture perfect. They were looking at the story. Because I'm not looking at the story, I'm feeling the story.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to make, you know, a movie about the story. I want people in Chicago,
Definitely.
California, New Orleans, Atlanta. I want them to know about Joe Samaras.
Right.
Because if he could do this, we all could do something even bigger or smaller to just give back, just how he does.
Definitely. Well, guess what? TV Land, we got a sneak peek coming for you.
Yeah, sneak
so
premiere.
you
Yeah,
get
definitely.
it first. They might have saw it on the news, but you
Yeah.
get the real thing, exclusive.
On the
straight-
news, they saw the trailer.
Okay.
So on here, you're gonna get the sneak peek of the movie.
The actual
movie. It was
Okay.
only right I brought it back to Channel 5 to show a little
Definitely.
bit of the movie.
Definitely.
So the trailer you see, you can see that anywhere you want, but the movie you're gonna see here.
Definitely. You see it first. Elite TV's Impact on Life. So let's check that out, and we'll be right back with you.
Yeah. I welcome in Park. That's how I literally came across this story. Bushnell Park is a well-known park located downtown in the heart of Hartford, Connecticut. It's used like any other park. Shortcuts, exercise, public events that take place all year round. But come to find out, this is not your regular park. Every Wednesday night, Joe the Barber sets up a folding chair, clippers connected to a car battery. A small section of this park is turned into a barbershop for the homeless, and food is handed out as well.
I'm living on somebody else's time clock. Time waits for no man, but I'm wishing I could hold up for just 1 minute and make time stop. Rewind the tape. Go back a few years to the day I went MIA and had my mama in tears. Now my stomach's growling. That's a feeling I'll never get used to. I know where I can get a hot meal. It's on you if you choose to. What I wouldn't give for my own warm bed and some soft sheets, I never thought I'd get accustomed to being on these hard streets. I'm grateful, though, for those who help me care for my physical, although there are still some who seem to think I'm invisible.
Ridley Pearson wrote this book, Chain of Evidence, and it was a murder mystery took place in Hartford. And there was a write-up in the Current, and when I read the write-up about this, it said Stonington Street and Dutch Point, where no white man in his right mind would be caught dead after dark. And I was just there the night before. Hello. Arthur, there you go.
When I first came across this opportunity to make this into a film, it was a blessing. I had no idea Joe was cutting here in this park. A lot of people had no idea. And to get the mayor involved, it was truly a blessing. Just the fact that I had the opportunity to work at City Hall part-time, seen the mayor a few times, and told the mayor, I have a guy who cuts here in the park. He's heard Joe. Most people haven't heard of Joe. And it was really, truly a testament of giving back. And this is what this film is about. It's about challenging everybody to give back. If this guy can sit out here and cut here every Wednesday night, other than January to March, which is too cold, I mean, we could all go in our closets, go in our pantries, grab food, grab, clothes, and give back. And this is what this film is about, challenging all of us to give back. So
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I guess it's one of those things where you have to be a filmmaker to see the glitches. Because you said the quality was bad, but that looked pretty good.
Glitches, yeah. It's funny because when I first got it cut up from the first editor, I brought it to my second editor, and it wasn't even film festival ready. And I didn't know that.
Okay.
I was like, what do you mean it's not film festival? Come on, you're pushing me back. You messed up my schedule.
Right.
And because the color correction that was involved, the sound, he said I had to go back in it and rework it and fix it even more to get it film festival ready. So once we got all that done, then we was able to send it out to the film festival people.
Okay. So how's that going now?
Oh, it's going great. I'm happy to announce, pretty soon I'll find out my numbers, see how it looks. Last week I was told that my numbers look crazy, which is a good crazy. Okay. So hopefully by the end of this week or early next week, I'll find out how I'm doing for the festival. Okay. And if I get accepted into the festival, it'll be my first festival, and they're gonna screen it at the Wadsworth Museum September 28th. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. Let me know. I will be in attendance.
Absolutely.
That's in the hometown now, and
yeah.
Sister Trish said she'll be there.
Yeah, okay,
too.
I'll see you there, Sister Trish.
So now, on a personal note,
right.
What happened?
To me going to prison?
Yeah, because you people can look at a guy and never be able to tell his story, never be able to tell his past, never be able to see what God has brought you through. But what was it?
Well, in the beginning, it was. Tomorrow I'll be speaking at Artists Collective to some kids. Okay. And I always start off with this exercise. And what I do is I go through statistics, and they say 1 out of every 5 young black male will be a dropout. 1 out of every 5 female African American have a baby by the time she's 18. Right. And 1 out of every 5 or 6 young black male will sell drugs before he's 14. And it was statistics. And what happened was, I tell the kids now, don't let statistics define you. Right. And in my past, I was letting statistics define me. Okay. And I got with the wrong crowd. I had a pretty good upbringing, but I was still distracted by the fast life. Distracted for the fast dollar. And that's what led me to say, I didn't want to work. I'd rather hustle. I'd rather sell drugs. I'd rather rob people. And that's how I took that path. Right. Ended up in prison for 11 years. 6 state, 5 feds for guns. And you would never notice it because of my turnaround now. Because when I went to prison, it was like prison definitely saved me. That's what it was. Right. I'm not telling everybody to go to prison to change your life. Right. You don't have to go to prison to change your life. Right. But take my steps and look at me. I tell the kids all the time, you can be better than J.B. Harvey. Right. And you don't have to take my road, what I took. Right. But pretty much that's what it was. It was my own demons inside, wanting that fast money, that fast, way of life. Right. And I wasn't, disciplined. And I tell people all the time, ambition and discipline are 2 different things. You can have all the ambition in the world you want to flip that key. You can flip that key 25 times to get all the property, all the girls, all the houses you want. But if you're not disciplined to get out the game,
Right.
there's people out there that will be disciplined for you.
Right.
And that's, that's the jail time.
Right.
So you can have all the ambition to play sports, all the ambition to, do good or whatever you want to do. But if you don't have the discipline, it will catch up to you.
Definitely.
And that's what happened with me in my, my earlier life.
Definitely.
I read a book, Spike Lee. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. And I read this book. It's about how he broke down his films. How pretty much they didn't even want to give him the money to even do the pyramid scene for Malcolm X. They wanted him to do the pyramid scene in New Jersey on the
Really?
beach. He broke everything down in increments on how he made his films for cheap.
Really?
Really, they did not want to give him no money to even make the film in Africa. That's why he went to these celebrities and got the film made in Africa, because Paramount didn't want to give him no more money.
Wow.
So he broke everything down in increments on how you can make films cheap, guerrilla style making, how you can surround yourself with people who know what they're doing if you don't know too much yourself and learn.
Right.
But it was one little part in that book where I realized he made She's Gotta Have It for $400,000 and he got back $7 million. And I said, I'm not going home to no more robberies after this. I'm gonna go home and be disciplined. I'm gonna go home and go to the library first week out and learn about grant writing. I'm gonna go home and stick to my grind. Go home and hook up with people that know about filmmaking. Like my new friends, they're all college graduates now.
Okay.
I didn't have college graduates friends before. All my new friends, they're all college graduates. They're all, professional people, and they keep me focused. And that's what it's about.
Definitely. Now, when you talk about surrounding yourself with new friends,
Oh yeah.
what are some of the steps that you took to doing that? Because I know that right now, one of the biggest issues young people have, not even young people, old people too,
Right.
is separating themselves from one circle of stagnation
Right.
and moving into a circle of success.
Right.
So what steps did you take, or what circles did you leave behind, or
Well, I left the circus behind.
Transcend.
Well, for me, in my personal experience, I left the circus behind in prison. It was a point in my time when I still had the streets in me. I got into a fight with CEOs, got into a fight with people I knew from the streets. I was still living that lifestyle.
Right.
But after being in segregation for so long and coming out, and then basically it's about, you have to choose for yourself. Like you can't beat it into anybody unless they're ready to accept it.
Right.
You can keep going to church every Sunday, every Thursday Bible study. You can do all that every week, but until you're ready to accept that new path to life, you won't be ready to accept it. So for me, I was ready to accept a new circle of friends, a new foundation. And that's where it starts off at, your foundation. Like you can have the most righteous speech, the most righteous spirit in the world, but if your foundation isn't right, you have nothing.
Right.
So for me, my whole circle of new friends, it started from the prison gates. I came home with no friends.
Right.
Not one friend in the world. I was still going to parole, seeing dudes I know from back in the day,
Right.
still asking me if I wanted to get down on robberies.
Right.
Now I was like, I got no friends.
Right.
My friends were the library. My friends was the Channel 5 family.
Right.
That was my new circle of friends.
Right.
So it's really your foundation. If you have no foundation, you don't have anything. That's what it really boils down to. Even with the kids, these kids could look up to anybody they want to look up to, but if it's not within themselves, they don't realize they have nothing.
Right. Okay. And that's so much of a mirror of my life, my own life. I found that at times, even now, I feel like an eagle flying in a formation with ducks.
Right.
For one, the ducks are not on my level.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what I mean? And you fly with them because you feel comfortable with them and that you want to fit in, but the ducks start getting agitated because the eagle's 5-foot wingspan
Right.
is forcing too much air and it's throwing them out of their formation.
Right.
So you need to soar up to your level. And that's where I really truly see myself right now.
Right.
I've been involved in some circles that aren't necessarily negative, but they
Right.
aren't beneficial to me personally,
Mhm.
where I need to step to the next level and excel. I need to start a TV show in order to shoot this film. Not that
Right.
I ever wanted to do a television show,
Right.
but I really just wanted to shoot the film.
Right.
Just like you said, my purpose was to do this, but if I have to go to Channel 5 in order to go to Bushnell Park with a camera, then
Right.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And I think that's what our community needs right now. It needs a breakaway moment of discipline, of reality, and just a turning point experience, because there's too many people that go to prison, and like you said, you were running into some of your same friends when
Right.
you were going to your parole hearing or PO,
Right.
and they're, oh, let's go back to the street.
Right.
Why? So we could get caught
End
and
up
go
back
back
in
to
jail?
prison.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
And they don't know I'm making movies now.
Right.
So
You know.
that's beyond me.
Right. And not that you're better, not that
Right.
you're different, it's that you've changed.
Absolutely.
And I truly trust in that. And what has given you, I've seen you in several different instances,
Yeah,
several different occasions.
events. Yeah,
You
right, exactly.
Run through
He was in one of my music videos as
Mothers
well.
United Against
Right,
Violence
I
March.
did the march for that.
The,
Yeah, the video.
music video. He was like, I don't want your face. I just want you and your
Yeah.
arm around your wife, you
Yep.
know. And what has inspired your creative angle to videography?
My inspiration comes from, it's not just my vision, and that's where you get selfish at this, because it can never be just your vision. Because if it's just your vision, you're not letting other people to express themselves in your creativity.
Right.
It's not just my vision.
Right.
Like when I'm on my movie set, I tell people, well, not my movie set, because we haven't did the movie yet. That'll be coming out in August, working on the movie. But even when I'm at my casting calls,
Right.
and my table reads, it's not just my vision. It's my vision for a principal factor of it's my story.
Right.
But I'm willing to open up, the conversation to your vision, their vision, his vision, her vision.
Right.
So my creativity comes from other people as well, because it's all like a melting pot. We all have to have, the creativity together to make it, successful. If I was so selfish with it and I said, no, this is just my vision, then I'm not sharing my creativity outright. I'm just being what it is, just selfishness.
Right.
So I would say what really, what really makes it creative for me is that I'm open-minded to different things. I'm open-minded to, okay, you the light guy, so I'm gonna leave you in charge with the lights.
Right.
So I want this type of, this type of temperature and this type of field for this mood, for the scene.
Right.
And if I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. But yet it's still, you're in charge of that.
Right.
And if I'm gonna leave you in charge of the sound. So if I need something like a creak on the floor and I don't hear it, I'm gonna still ask you, hey, get that creak on the floor.
Right.
So my creativity really comes from me not being selfish.
You're not gonna tell them how to get the creek. You
Yeah, just
want to
let me get a creek. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because you can be selfish in this business. I mean, who doesn't? Who isn't selfish?
Right.
But I feel that, I'm around enough people where I sit back and I realize the people that's selfish with their own vision, they don't last long, because you make enemies quick. You make people angry quick, because then they don't feel like they're really working. They feel like they're working,
For
for you,
you instead
not
of
with
with
you.
you.
And that's what you need. You need people to work with you, not for you.
Definitely.
And that's how a basic, principle of a business should be. We should work together, not just because you tell me to do it, I should do it. Like
Right.
a teamwork effort.
Right, definitely. I think that's what, when you have ownership in something, it makes you want to work.
Right. Definitely.
My job, for instance, I work at Jamoke Academy of Honors at Milner
Right.
Elementary. On paper, it was the worst school in the state.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
Right.
to get in there, it's just a bunch of misdirected kids,
Right.
Who have been fed false hopes and dream killers from teachers, administrators. I mean, anytime you have a teacher telling a whole class of kids for several years you won't even be able to get a job at McDonald's,
Right.
I wouldn't even hire you to flip my burgers.
Right.
You'll probably be a prostitute. You'll probably be. I mean, teachers telling kids this
Right.
for generations is gonna be a community type of effort to turn that school around.
It has to be.
But when we
Right.
went in, it gave us a first-hand, get your feet wet, type of up to your knees type of situation.
Right.
And the youth saw eventually through our efforts and our unwillingness to quit, our love for their future,
And that's what it's about.
not their present.
Absolutely. And that's what
When
it's
you
about.
can look into their future, and they bought into the concept of the scholar development
Right.
team. we bought into the concept of the scholar development model. So when they tell us that the budget had been cut and we have to come back and make less money this year than we did last year, it really wasn't a no-brainer whether or not we wanted to come back. You know, not because you can't get a job or we don't find a job, but because we still want to make an impact in the life of the young people. And we know that by the success that we do for completing our job, it's going to pay off in the long run.
Right.
You know,
And
just
that's
the
where
experience itself.
where like my path is at, is because these young people, I was once like you know,
Right.
15, 20 years ago, but look at me
Right.
now. And you
Right.
can be better than me.
Right.
And that's where it's at. You wanted to show these young people you don't have to take the same steps that I've took. You could be better in taking the steps that I'm taking now. And that's what it's about, spreading that whole inspiration throughout the city. Like I tell my friends recently, I'm here to bring magic to the city. I'm here to bring magic, and I'm here to bring films, money, and magic to the city.
Definitely.
I've been home 2 years now.
2 years.
So imagine where I'll be another 2 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm grinding, you know,
Yeah.
and I always put my hashtag, what's your grind like? You know, what's your grind like?
Right.
If your grind is like mine, then we need to collaborate and
Definitely.
connect. Because that's what it's about. I'm grinding for these kids. I'm grinding with people that's in my new circle, you know? You know, shout outs to, you know, Abdul Muhammad, dream chasing #1.
Okay.
He gives ice cream away for free.
Really?
And it's ice cream truck. All you gotta do is tell him your dream, and you get ice cream. And he goes Springfield. He goes to New York. He goes different cities with his ice cream truck. And these are my new friends. You know,
Really?
Stack Williams. You're right here. This is one of his shirts right here. Supreme Athletes.
Okay.
And they're out there working these kids hard to get ready for college. And these are my new
Okay.
friends. These are my new circles because we're out here for the kids.
Definitely.
And what your grind like is like pretty much putting the flag down, saying if you're not really going to be giving anything back to the city, stop talking about it because we don't want to hear it.
Definitely.
We don't want to hear the old cows and the bells and the whistles.
Right.
Because we're out here really putting grind to the city for these kids.
Right.
And there's nothing disrespectful in that terms of people that's out there just talking.
Right.
But this is a new generation, and the new generation is we're going to sit here and take our kids back from the streets.
I mean, but it is disrespectful, and not from you, but to them. You know, I'm tired
I
of
don't
the
want to get too
disrespect.
political.
I mean, but
it is.
I'm militant right now. You know, even with this show, talk about something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't sit up here and just tuck your tail away from issues that need to be brought to light.
Addressed.
Trayvon Martin, clear case of race.
Right.
I mean, everything and everyone and anything to do with this case said the kid could not have warranted death.
Yeah.
Regardless to what you said, even if he was fighting this man who had him by at least 100 pounds, you know what I mean?
Right.
It did not warrant death.
Right.
He was murdered. So there's nothing that you can prove to say that he wasn't murdered other than maybe manslaughter, you know, but for him to get off, let's talk about the real issue. But
Right.
you have people that don't want to get on the public scene and say that, but I'm not those people. You know what I mean? I might not be able to have an organization to develop athletes, but if
Right.
I have a platform to preach, guess what? I'm not going to give you a feel good, God wants you to be
Yeah.
rich, and you finna get a house in the old should have bought a Honda type of mode. I'm going to give you this, repent,
Right.
because Christ is coming back. Have a prayer life. Get right. Live holy. It's not just the inside of the church situation. God has ordained everything, so he needs everyone to fill all these positions.
Right, absolutely.
Do your job for the glory of him, regardless of whether you're a police, filmmaker, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it is a disrespectful thing. It's disrespectful when you
'Cause you
stand
waste
up here
time.
taking the money,
Right.
taking the resources, and you're not doing nothing. There's no change. It's actually, there is change, but it's getting worse.
For the worse. Right.
We got, I don't know how many churches and religious establishments within 6 blocks of this building in a circle. But look at the neighborhood. Look at the crime statistics in the neighborhood. Look at the trash on the ground in the streets. Look at the morale of the people.
Right.
It's beer bottles and weed bags and stashes on church grounds. They don't even have respect for the house of God. So, I mean, what are you doing besides holding service?
Right.
And if, you know what I mean? So
Collect the money.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get at it. You gotta.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
and we gonna check your pay stub to make sure you give me your 10%.
Right. Well, don't look too further because we have a whole new cloud of energy trying to get these kids back, and that's what it's about.
Definitely.
With your energy, with the people I surround myself with their energy, and with Brandon Frame down at High School Inc. With
Okay.
these brothers are serious about getting these kids back from the streets
Definitely.
and expressing their dreams, and that's what it's about.
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna have to link up with some of your circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm tired of dealing with the crabs. I'm about to cook them all. I'm not lying. I take them down to New Orleans, Biloxi, Mississippi, throw them in a big pot, and watch them turn red.
Right.
Now, aside from Joe the Barber, aside from Damn That Girl Can Cook, what are some of your other projects that you're working on?
We have one more. Well, I have a book coming out called Dying of Loneliness. It's my first novel. I wrote 2 novels, but this one right here will be coming out hopefully by the end of September. It's my first book. It's 30 chapters. It's 3 parts. Each part is 10 chapters. It's called Dying of Loneliness. It's about a guy who loses his wife in a horrible accident. And while he's moving on with his life, he's having these occurring dreams about this accident. And the other characters in the book, they pretty much are keeping silent about the accident because they know what happened. So it pretty much is it's a murder mystery. So we're looking to put down the pavement, self-publish it, take that money, flip it, make more movies.
Definitely.
The next movie we have coming up is called 2 Candles Please.
Okay.
We'll be shooting that August, the second week of August on the South End.
Okay.
It's called 2 Candles Please, and it's pretty much it surrounds what's going on in the city with the candle visuals on the corner. There's not one corner you cannot go in the city and not find a candle visual with these
I've
candles.
preached several of them.
Absolutely. And there's
Yeah.
not one corner you can't find one at times.
Yeah.
I don't care what corner it is. Every other month, 1 month, every other week, you're gonna find a candle visual at that corner. So this film is about a father who owns a local bodega, and he gives out 2 candles for free from his local bodega to anybody in the city who needs it because of the crime rate and the murder rate in the city. But the bigger story is that he has 2 sons, one named Rico and one named Carlos. And Rico is the streets. Rico is what we're trying to stop on the streets.
Okay.
Rico is the streets, but Carlos is a younger brother, still a virgin, went behind the ears, don't know much about anything about that other life, but just wants to play baseball, get ready for baseball camp this summer. But he still wants to have that love for his older brother that the father is stopping.
Okay.
And so basically the movie is about this father and these 2 sons, and he's trying his best to keep these sons separated. He don't want the negative to ruin the positive son.
Right.
And it just flourishes into a really good story about how this father is just trying to keep his love between 2 sons separated, and while he's giving out 2 candles in the neighborhood. That's why it's called 2 Candles Please.
Definitely.
We'll be shooting it the second week of August. Come on out to the set. You're welcome to come on out to the set, anybody. It'll be at the Charter Oak store down the street on the south end. If you know where you come out the library, that store that's right there in front of the back of the library, and it has a long building connected to it, that's going to be our main location, that store right there.
Okay.
So we'll be filming August 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, one location.
Okay.
That's where we'll be at. That's the second project for the film.
Definitely. 8th, 9th, 10th.
Yep.
My mom will be in town during that time.
Hey, come
so
on
I'll
out
bring her out.
to the movie set. Yeah, see the film being made. You know?
Definitely.
And we also plan to take that too and put it in the film festival.
Okay.
That's how we tend to do things over here at JVH Films.
Yeah.
No disrespect to other filmmakers and
Right.
other people out there grinding, but we really want to take our films and put them on a different level because
Right.
really, you could self-publish, which is cool. You could self-publish and reach masses, but your big theme is really to get published by a big house.
Definitely.
Because that's going to get you, international.
Definitely.
And you can make movies. You can go out there and sell movies all day, all night
Right.
from your trunk. But your big theme is to go to a film festival and get discovered, so you don't have to, hurt your feet that much.
Right.
And then they could pick up your movie and put it in movie theaters,
Right.
and put it on TV for you.
Right.
So our theme over here at JVH Films is to go to film festivals.
Okay.
That's what we want to do with our films.
Definitely. Now, let's say I'm an aspiring artist or film writer,
Right.
and I wanted to solicit your cameras and your expertise, get
Right.
your angles and your light man to work with me. What type What type of package deals do you have available for the people?
Well, we have 3 deals. We have, we have the $400 deal, which is pretty much, locations is always the most expensive. If you have like 3, 4, or 5 locations you want to go to, that's more cameras, more people, more gas in the car. So it's going to be more expensive.
Okay.
But the cheapest price you can get for us is $400, $400 to $800 to $1,000.
Okay.
And obviously, even for a wedding, if you want to bring out a whole production crew, then we're gonna bring a whole production crew to your wedding and make it look like it's a production crew.
Right.
We're gonna make your wedding look like it's on, one of those reality TV shows.
Right.
We're gonna make it a wedding.
Right.
So pretty much, if you go to my website, jvhfilms.com, all the packages deals is lined up, but it's always about location.
Okay.
If you got 2, 3, 4 different locations for your music video, that's gonna be more money. But if you keep it simple, one location, we'll bring out, one camera, give you some highlights, give you some special secrets that only the secret society knows about with the camera works and the editing, and we'll make it look good, and you're all set.
Okay, cool. And I saw one of your videos that you did. I think it was downtown next to City Hall.
Okay, all right,
And what putting that together,
right,
that looked like a very fun project.
right.
What
Which
brought
video
that
was
about?
it?
It was a Jamaican guy.
Oh yeah, okay. Another Man, Sasha.
Yeah, Another
shout out
Man.
to Effatari.
Right.
Yeah, it was called Another Man. Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. That was my first video actually.
Really?
It's my first video with a garbage camera.
Okay.
And we made it happen though.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
process was it was fun. It was cool, It was like they needed a music video, and the song is a hit song too.
Definitely.
And pretty much we just put it together. It's all about storyboarding.
Okay.
That's like the first steps for you young filmmakers out there that want to get into filmmaking and music videos. It's all about storyboarding. Like you
Okay.
gotta like draw your scenes out and have like what you're gonna do for one clip to another clip to another clip, and pretty much match it with your camera work. And that's how that video came about. And it's funny you said that because I just got a text message like about maybe like 4 hours ago about that video. People
Really?
still talk about that video because it's a pretty good video.
Oh, yeah.
For just a garbage camera.
Yeah, definitely. My wife and I were going through your website, looking
Yeah.
at different things,
And go to my YouTube page. You see all my stuff on my YouTube page too.
Okay,
My YouTube
definitely.
page is JV Harvey Films/TV, and you see a lot of my work on the YouTube page as well. JV Harvey Films/TV.
okay.
And you'll see the video I did for Mothers Against
Mothers
Violence.
United Against
Yeah.
Violence. I was going to ask you about that
Yeah.
because I like the fact that you went through and you interviewed
Yeah.
throughout the crowd.
Yes, I did.
You got the elected officials, you got the mayor,
Governor,
you got the governor, some of the different leaders of the actual
Mhm.
march, and coordinators, but you
Yeah.
got the people.
Yeah. Some from Sandy Hook too. Yeah.
Newtown, from Hartford,
Yeah, from
from,
the hood.
all over, and the diversity for something that is just on the spot situation like that.
Right.
I mean, that was a big day. I
Yeah.
lost my voice that day.
Yeah, you did.
we-
You had the bullhorn. And you was
Yeah.
going in.
Yeah, we went hard. It was a lot of people. I was
Right.
grateful to be a part of that day. Mothers United, Reverend Brown and Mothers United Against Violence put a lot of energy
Mhm.
and effort, and the community really came out to support.
Yeah.
This was our 4th or 5th march, and this was the largest turnout.
Yeah,
that
it was
we've
huge.
had
It was a
by
big
far.
turnout.
But with something so on the spot like that, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how do you have the vision that you had to put it together the way that you did? I mean, it was a dynamic presentation.
This is just a blessing from God, man. It's not my vision, it's His vision.
Right.
It really is. No, it's not my vision, it's His vision. I'll say it again, it really isn't.
Right.
Like when I go through my scripts and I write my scripts, and it's pretty good stories.
Right.
But like I always say because I'm not afraid to talk to nobody. I'm not afraid. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in the group home, I was about 12, 13 years old, playing basketball. I dunked on the rim. And I was out in Westport. We know about Westport, Fairfield County. So the group home was next to a crazy mansion. I believe at the time, one of the guys who lived in the mansion, he had some stock in Nike.
Okay.
So my bedroom window was pretty much like looking at his backyard. Over the tree line, I could see 4 or 5 basketball courts, pools.
Really?
So, but in this group home, about 12, 13 years, I dunked the basketball, I broke the rim. So I went inside. I'm like, yo, we need another rim. I dunked it. I broke it. They was like, no, you broke it. Just wait for next week, 2 weeks, whatever. They didn't want to buy another rim, basketball pole. So you can't be afraid to ask for anything. It's either a no or you're gonna get it.
Right.
So I took my basketball. I walked this long driveway. I rang this doorbell. And he was like, "Who is?" I'm sure it wasn't him.
Right.
But whoever it was like, "Who are you? What do you want?"
Right.
So yeah, I just came from the group home. The basketball room, bro. You got 4 or 5 back. They can't play basketball.
Right.
And they say, "No, go back to the group home. Don't come back." And that little instance right there gave me confidence to speak to anybody.
Right.
So I always say, even when I write my scripts, my networking is good, but God is better. I can network with anybody. I could network with the best of them, but God is better. So when you got a dynamic of such a situation like the march, it could be my vision, but it's really just God leading me with my camera to break it down how He sees fit. And I really appreciate the props for that video because it came out to be a really good video.
It really did.
Yeah, and it was a great purpose for the march as well.
Definitely. And I honestly, I didn't. This year was the first year that I wasn't at any planning meetings for the march.
Right.
I didn't have any input
Right.
into what was going on in the march. Reverend Brown just called me up and he was like, "Lee,
step up.
you leading the march this year, And I'm
Right.
like, "What?" He said, "I'm giving you the bullhorn from
Right.
the start
Step up.
to the finish. And once we get to the Capitol, we'll transfer it to the next people."
Right.
And it was a great day. It was a learning process for me as well. At first, I was in the front of the march calling people, and I think we picked up maybe 200.
Yeah, how many people was in the march?
I really think that it was over 700 people.
700. It was a lot.
It was really.
I have one shot, which is like the whole avenue was just a sea of people.
Yeah, just.
It was a lot.
And I didn't realize it until after we went to City Hall and we were on the final leg to the Capitol, and my voice was getting weak.
Right.
And that's when I came to the side of the march. But then when we were on that last leg by the park, I stood up on one of the platforms and actually looked over everybody, and it was from the start of the park to the end of the park almost full of people, and that was just an awesome experience.
Right.
It was blacks, whites, it was people of all races, colors, and creeds. We had several mothers who had lost their sons or daughters in the last 10 years, several families from Newtown.
And I even actually ended up interviewing one of the mothers from Newtown where the shooter lived, like down the street.
Really?
Yes, I ended up interviewing her. She's on the video. I ended up interviewing her, and it's just like it's traumatic. What happened up there? We living right down the street from the shooter.
Right.
It was an amazing experience for me as well.
And when we went to Newtown, because as soon as I heard it, I called Reverend Brown. I said, "Listen, this Mothers United Against Violence, we need to be one of the first responders to this. We got to go there." So we went the next day. We got a team of people. We went down there the next day, and then I went back the following day when the president came to speak, and had an opportunity to minister to several of the teachers that were at the high school and some of the students and young people that live there in that community, and just being able to reach out in an unknown manner.
Right.
I mean, a couple television cameras from overseas interviewed me, but I'll never know if it was played or whatever. They were from all over the ocean, and I gave some statements. They did some interviews. One lady wanted me to speak predominantly Spanish, and I only knew about 6 or 7 phrases. So she was telling me what to say, and I was saying it in Spanglish, I guess. But the biggest portion was what wasn't on camera, being in the line, watching these teachers and these students assisting people as they're going into the high school to meet the president or listen to the president, but they're still in a state of mourning at the time, and being able to minister to them, and that's what I went for. That's the part of my life and my ministry that correlates to what you were saying about this with developing these young people and getting films and going to give back and to show them the streets isn't the only way. As a matter of fact, it's not the way.
It's not at all.
It's not the way. like
it
you
could be
said,
your way. It could be your way for that decision for that time because
Yeah.
you choose it. But once you get past it, you will realize there's so much bigger and better things out there.
Right.
After you get finished with that life.
Right.
Because
right.
it really is.
Right. You think you're living big,
Yeah,
and
you
can
are.
trick
You're
off
really
at the
not.
Cleveland Cafe or
Right.
Club Pyramid or something, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're not sitting on top of one of these skyscrapers looking out over the
Yeah.
city on the roof for
Right, and
the
plus,
4th
if
of
you're not
July.
making an impact, if you're not making an impact, that's
know.
what the biggest story. You have to make an impact.
Yeah.
Like, what's your impact gonna be?
Yeah.
That's like for me. What's your impact? You could do anything and everything you could do for now, but what's your impact? What's your legacy gonna leave?
Definitely.
That's what I'm working on now. My legacy, 'cause that's what it really means the most. The
Definitely.
legacy, you know.
Definitely, and that's what I strive for. That top of the skyscraper moment.
Right.
You know, I never want to live in one. I want to own one,
Right.
but I never want to live in one.
Yeah.
I never want to be one of those, oh, I'm throwing money off the roof type of dudes,
Yeah.
making it rain. But my skyscraper, I want to build with all the young people, all the young adults, and all the adults that I can help to aspire to reach the sky.
Absolutely.
You know, to come from a everyday 2 or 3 story home to hitting the 80th floor, hitting
Right.
the 90th floor, hitting the 100th floor,
Definitely.
with whatever your dream and your aspiration is.
Mm-hmm.
Because truly, we need to boost the level of the earth right now. I mean, I really feel like there's too much death, there's too much sex, there's too much idolatry, I guess I could call it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
mhm.
False make-believe life.
Definitely.
You know, I was reading a story on Chief Keef today in the Rolling Stone magazine, and they were talking about one of his quotes when he said something to the effect of, "It doesn't matter, I already earned my spot in hell."
Yeah.
And they asked him, did he mean it? You know, and he was like, I don't know.
Just pure nonsense.
Do you still feel that way?
Right.
Yeah, I guess. You know, 17 years old and really doesn't have any aspirations to do anything but be a
Mhm.
rapper.
Right.
You know, that's rapping about the same violence and crime that you're missing
Mhm.
in the city of Chicago. Your label's telling you to move away from, but you
Right.
bring right back to you.
Mhm.
And how do you aspire to be greater than what you once were? The Bible says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man,
Yeah.
I put away childish things. And I applaud you, brother, for
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
stepping into manhood in the
Definitely.
way that you do and making the impact that you have. Every opportunity that we cross paths, and it's been a blessing to me. You know?
I'm always stalking you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start stalking you so I can get some of those circles you're talking about. You know, soar with some eagles. So I thank you for coming out. I thank you for being a guest on the show. I pray God's blessing over your projects, definitely. And September 28th.
Yeah, September 28th, we'll find out if it's going to make it to the film festival.
Okay.
And we're shooting for it. But we also have other festivals we're entering as well.
Okay.
Oktoberfest, another one, New Orleans for November.
Okay.
So we have them all lined up. We'll be entering to a few more film festivals within like the next month or so.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And remember, you have no rights to anything you have not pursued. I read that months ago and I stick to it every day. You have no rights to anything you have not pursued. And that's what I live by.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm Jarmaine Lee, your host. This is JV Harvey.
JV Harvey.
Lee TV's Impact on Life. Stay blessed, and we'll see you next
JV
week.
Lee and JV Harvey, all right? Get it
Yes,
right.
sir.
Get it
Never
right.
forget that.
Right.
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Worldwide.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Diamond
Yeah,
Dog
listen, man,
exclusive.
I have a role for you.
Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls, don't
Yeah, that's
you know?
just me.
Tell me where you been lately. Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls, don't
I'm
you
standing
know?
at the peak of my passion. April baby shower, send lightning a flashing. Overflow of diamond tidal waves are crashing. Flooding all the issues I've had in my past, and I'm surfing straight past them. I'm filling with action. All my haters swarming with the fatal attraction. Common curiosity, the question they're asking.
Tell me where you been
I just look at them laughing, I keep moving on past them. I'm no longer a has-been, now I'm a Shelby. Gone in 60 seconds, unicorn the Shelby. Coming over obstacles, working with shall we, and yes we shall see Lee prevail.
Tell me where you been lately? Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls,
Yeah,
don't
that's
you
just
know?
me.
Tell me where you been lately? Why you acting rowdy, crazy?
What you mean?
Ready to go, ready to blow off the walls, don't
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
just me. 2 scoops, some new shoes, and a pinstripe suit. Reminisce